Hey guys, it's Mario here back with a quick video, and in this one I'm covering the topic of hunger, specifically how to stay full longer on a diet, on a low-calorie diet. So as you're dieting down, you know that we need to decrease calories. As our body adapts to our caloric intake, it will stop losing weight at a certain point, so you have to reduce the amount of food you're eating. And at that point, you also notice that the hunger signals get a little bit messed up because that signaling of satiety, meaning how full you feel after a meal, is decreased, and there's also an increase of hunger signaling, so you feel more hungry throughout the day. So what can we do? What is in our power to help us mitigate some of these effects and also help us feel fuller? So the number one thing, it's really the most important thing. I'll give you three things, but this one is the most important one, is protein intake. So regardless of what else trick there is out there, adequate amount of protein will help you stay fuller, and an adequate amount would be about a gram per pound of lean body mass. And protein beats all the other macros when it comes to satiety. It beats carbs and fats by a long shot. So protein is super important, and if you want to stay fuller, you want to make sure that your meals have an adequate amount of protein. And not only does it help you stay fuller, but it's also going to help you retain lean body mass, muscle mass, and even build some muscle mass if you're in that beginner stage or depending how you set up your plan. So protein is super important. This is something that any guy who tells me, hey, I have problems, I'm non-stop hungry, I usually ask them, hey, how much protein are you eating? And they're usually under eating in terms of protein. So take care of your protein intake. And I would even recommend going a little bit higher, maybe to 1.2 or 1.3 grams per pound of lean body mass if you have that problem of satiety. The second thing, the one really important thing, is getting your fiber from fruits and veggies. This is something that most guys fail at. Most people out there, when you say fiber, they immediately associate that with some kind of magical supplement. They associate that with something that they can just take as a form of a pill or a powder and problem solved. Well, it's not that simple, because a powdered supplement won't help you when it comes to getting that proper nutrition, because not only does veggie and fruit intake help you get that fiber intake, but it also helps you get a lot of that micronutrition that is critical as you're dieting down. So what does fiber do? What do these veggies and fruits do? Well, they're an easy way to add more volume of food that you're eating without adding extra calories. So if you look at one of my meals, if you follow me and you saw some of my full day of eating videos, you will notice that most of my meals, if you just look at the content of the meal, the volume is coming from veggies, right? My meal, 70% of my plate looks like it's veggies, and all the other stuff is protein, carbs, and fat. So I play a trick with my body. I give it the volume. I kind of trick it while thinking, hey, I ate loads of food, but there's not enough, there's no calorie in it, right? There's no energy content that is gonna make me overeat. So I'm providing myself with food, but not with the caloric amount. And that, when you put that in your body, through your stomach and your digestive tract, you get that feeling that there's a lot of food, and that helps with satiety. Secondly, when you get that fiber as well, combined with the size of the meal, it makes sure that that food stays longer in your digestive tract, making you fuller for longer, and that's exactly what we want. So an adequate fiber intake, I would say a minimum of 10 grams per 1,000 calories that you're consuming. I would even recommend going a little bit higher, maybe to about 12 to 15 grams per 1,000 calories that you're consuming. So someone eating a 2,000 calorie diet, about 30 grams of fiber would be an adequate amount. The third one, and the final tip, and you probably heard about this, you probably heard me say a couple of things about it, maybe some other guys out there, there's also a lot of hype around it as well, is trying some form of eating window, specifically in a form of intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is a very simple concept. There's really no need to complicate it. You basically have an eating window of a few hours throughout the day. It can be an eating window of 10 hours, of 8, of 4, even 2, there's some extreme cases. But the point is, you want to limit yourself to consume food only in that period of time. So that is something I'm doing on a diet. If I'm having issues with hunger, intermittent fasting allows me to have larger meals, because if I say, hey, I'm gonna eat my food within 8 hours, that's gonna allow me, I can eat a lot larger meals because I can only eat 2 or 3 meals within an 8-hour period, rather than if I say, hey, I'm gonna eat like 6 meals, those meals will be very, very small if my caloric intake is also not as big. So intermittent fasting is a really helpful tool to use to help yourself with bigger meals and also to retrain your body to expect food at certain points in time, and that also helps in the long run with mitigating some of these feelings of hunger that will arise undoubtedly when you're dieting down, which is something you can't really avoid, and it's a normal thing. So 3 tips to summarize. First, adequate protein intake, super important, and spreading that protein throughout the meals. Second one, fiber from veggies and fruits. Veggies are an amazing way to add extra volume to your diet without adding extra calories, which helps you stay fuller, longer. And the third one, intermittent fasting, trying some form of eating window. Don't stress it too much. If I say 8 hours, that doesn't mean that 8 hours, 1 minute is gonna like blow the whole thing out of the water. It also doesn't mean that if you do a shorter eating window that it's gonna negatively influence you. So pick an eating window that you can comfortably sustain and be flexible with it. It doesn't matter if you do 1 hour more or 1 hour less some days, or if you start eating window a little bit earlier or end it a little bit later. It doesn't really matter that much, but try to be as consistent as possible. And as with everything, consistency is the key. So keep applying these 3 tips and I guarantee you that you will stay full longer, even in a very low calorie diet. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if you find this helpful, and if you're currently dieting, hit me up in the comments below if you have any questions. And as usual, make sure to hit that subscribe button to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.